Asha. Namaskar, greetings, and welcome to this soul stirring show on soul transformation. I, Anjana Handu, along with Credent TV, we welcome Madam Jayapalashri. I am honored and privileged to introduce her to you, the spiritual princess, Miss Jayapalashri.
Namaste. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the show. As I
Thank you
said,
so
I'm
much.
honored and privileged to have you here and host you, ma'am. As the
Thank
name
you.
says it all, the spiritual princess. Born on 5th of September 1976 in Bangalore. Her name, Jayapalashri, means gift of goddess. And her father truly believed that she was a gift of God for their family. Today, many of us take it so that she is a true gift to each one of us in our lives for changing our lives and affecting our lives in so many ways. Her parents are from Mysore. Her mother, the late Maharaja Kumari Meenakshi Devivaru, is the second daughter of His Highness late Maharaja Vadiyar, being born as a princess in the Mysore palace, raised her children with strict disciplinarian rules. Her father, late Sardar M.R. Lakshmikant Rajeurs, was born to an aristocratic family of Mysore, a well known advocate excelling in his field of law. Today, their daughter makes them proud as she excels and shines as a bright star, helping all those who need her. The concept of samskara is the brainchild of Jayapalashri Ma'am. Counseling and healing has always been her dream, and now she has achieved it. Previously, Jaya Ma'am felt like an anchorless ship, and she knew she was on the wrong path. Eventually, after many nudges and subtle messages from the universe, she made up her mind to connect to the higher soul within her and thus answered the call. Today, this has led to her very own spiritual princess back home, and now she's happy and secure and she is doing what she was meant to do. The knowledge she gathered from various courses has paved the way for self transformation and soul cleansing for many through her. Through her rigorous meditation, she is also blessed and guided to create her own meditation, of which she has converted to classes now. Welcome, ma'am, to this show. We are blessed and honored to have you here with us today, and we look forward to an enlightening session with you. Welcome,
Thank
ma'am.
you. It's a pleasure to be here amongst you all. Thank you so much for having me here.
At the onset, ma'am, I would like to ask you to I want you to tell us more about samskara. What is samskara?
Samskara healing is my own little baby that I have given birth to as the rites of passage when I got onto the path of spirituality. I started the journey to understand life. And a couple of years back, I had no idea that I would start a center called Samskara, and I'm soon starting an institute called Samskara. Um, I started just with the entire thought. I was guided through my meditation with the name Samskara, and I understood that it meant the rites of passage. So, rites of passage is exactly what Samskara is. When people come to me, they come to me broken in various stages of in their life for various reasons. So, I'm helping them go through the rites of passage to a new path, a new beginning, a transformation. And that's how the name Samskara came about. And if you look at my entire logo and you look at everything, it's just speaking about how to harness wisdom, how to be enlightened, and also how to balance the energies in us, and how to bring about a soul transformation. So
Wonderful.
that's about us coming from.
Till now, I believed that Buddha was the only enlightened one. Now
No,
I come to know that there are many souls that can be enlightened. Uh,
no, no.
that is just on a
All of us
humorous
as
note.
Gautama Buddha, who was truly an enlightened master. And I am blessed and honored to meditate and connect to masters like Lord Buddha himself. But when I studied my healing courses and I worked with it, the first thing my teacher told me is look for Buddha in each person. Don't see the bad, because see the good. See, when you see that there is a Buddha in that person, it becomes easy for you to help that person become the Buddha. So that was a very important lesson which got imbibed into me. So no matter who the person is, what the issue is, when they come to me, I don't see the wrong. I don't see when people sit in front of me, they say, can I be healed? Is there a promise that I can be okay? And I'm like, yes, because all of us have that divine energy and spark. So, yes.
On a personal note, maybe after the show, I connect with you. But carrying the show a little further, ma'am, I believe one of the most enduring metaphors for the spiritual path is the transformation of the lowly caterpillar into a beautiful butterfly. And out of
Hmm.
its own substance, the ground hugging grub, it weaves the medium for its metamorphosis. What then is the need for soul transformation in human beings?
The reason why we need soul transformation is I understand this is an educational summit, so I don't want to make it boring, but in the most simple terms, if I have to say it, we are born with our destiny planned and everything. All we come with a contract with our souls deciding what they want to do with life. When we come onto earth and we get conditioned into our society, we forget our true soul calling. Like, even for example, I was today I know I was born to be a spiritual healer and be out there to help people. But if you had asked me as a baby, I don't think I knew that. All I knew is that I need to be a lawyer because my father was an excellent lawyer. All I knew that my grandfather wanted me to be a doctor, so to help and be of service to mankind. But I am in a way a doctor, but I'm not a licensed medical practitioner, but I am doing something in the fraternity of healing, helping people in a different aspect and way with alternative therapy. So when we see that, when we get lost and we don't understand what we want in our life, and when we become anchorless ships. So that is when you come into a space where you need source transformation. And we go through it in every part of a rites of passage. Yes, a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, and there's a transformation that happens. But for a, for us, we have many rites of passage, which is the solar sanskar. If you look at it, we have 16 various rites of passages happening where we are going from one stage to another, one stage to another. We're constantly having a transformation. Some are recorded. Sometimes we do not want to, in today's time and age, we don't have time, we don't want to record it, but certain important aspects are recorded from the very birth of very time of conception to the time of death. There are 16 rites of passages. We even do the rites of passage when the person dies to allow them to move forward. That again is a soul transformation. So constantly the soul is evolving. There are lessons being learned, lessons being accepted. So that brings about a transformation in us.
Ma'am, I'm here reminded of what Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, that soul cannot be pierced, nor can it be burned, nor it can be
Yes.
moistened, and nor it will wither away. What is then soul transformation, and what are its benefits, ma'am?
As, like what Lord Krishna said, which is 100% true. A soul can never be hurt, a soul can never be destroyed, a soul can never be burnt or anything. But what happens is the baggage that we carry in on earth, the soul can fragment, the soul can get hurt because the soul has a plan. But because of us getting caught in today's Maya, which is the illusion, we lose track. And when we are caught in the materialistic world, the disappointment, the greed, the lust, the anger, the fear breaks us and holds the soul back. And it does not allow the soul to move on its true path and the true journey which it needs to go. And that is where the soul transformation comes in. Because we need to understand that the soul has a journey. It's like the river which is constantly moving until it reaches its final destination. So that is the soul's journey. You cannot hold it. You cannot bind it with lust, greed, anger, frustration. You are, you are, uh, you're kind of binding it. You're putting it in a place where it cannot, move forward. It cannot move on its free course.
Again,
Sometimes when there is, sorry, sometimes when
uh,
even there's a death, family not ready to let go of the soul, so it gets bound. So that's when soul cleansing and soul things come in to help them move on. It's just purifying.
I'm again here reminded of a thought from Lord Krishna that says that soul is invincible, inconceivable, and immutable. So one should not grieve for one's body. And ma'am, why do you think that soul transformation is needed and cleansing is needed and healing is needed? Because these are all overlapping concepts. And why do you think such a thing is needed?
So soul cleansing, soul transformation would overlap, and it could become debatable because they go parallel to each other. Okay, and what is said in Bhagavad Gita is 100% true. I think in one of my conversations, I have also said I wish Gita was taught in school. I wish Gita was
True.
made part of even my education when I was growing
True.
up. I'm sure that it would have made my life a better person and a better me, because the concepts, the ideologies are beautiful. What happens is, like, I work with souls, and especially when a soul has to depart, and if they have gone through a trauma, if a soul goes to a trauma, it carries the imprints in the chakras, and so that needs to be cleansed. And
The
sometimes
chakras.
what happens, sorry,
The chakras you are talking of, the chakra cleansing. Right.
chakra cleansing, but even not at the level of the physical body, even at the level of a soul, they could be carrying a lot of imprints, bringing it to another lifetime. That is how our karma comes to us from lifetime to lifetime. There are many things that we do. Our chakras are our blueprints, which carry our entire life journey for how many ever years we've been on, coming back onto life. So when we are in the process, and when we are in a continuous cycle of life and death, and not understanding what we're doing, we're repeating the same mistakes, the same um, patterns. So when we do a soul cleansing, or then it kind of clears it. We do not repeat the patterns, because the soul understands the learning. But when we come down and we get connected to earth in our conscious mind, we many of us even forget that we have a soul, and we forget that the soul has a will. We just want to go about with our greed, lust, and everything, and we bind ourselves here. And when
Wonderfully,
I've done,
wonderfully explained, ma'am. Wonderfully explained, ma'am. Yeah.
so a little more to that is when I've worked with souls, like especially when somebody goes through a trauma. When we go through a trauma, when we are bullied, when we are hurt, in case we failed, a bit of us breaks away, what is called the soul loss, and we feel depleted, and some of us feel very empty, or we feel a vacuum within us. It's because there's something in us which is drifted off. So when we go to work on that, and usually shamans do that, Anybody in Shamanic path would know what I'm talking about. When we work with those fragments and we heal it to make the soul whole again, that is soul cleansing.
Wonderful,
Because we
ma'am.
are removing the memory, we're removing that pain, the trauma, and bringing the soul back, because the soul never wishes to experience certain things. And that is why, if you see some major cases where there's been an accident, a person goes into coma, the conscious mind shuts and the subconscious mind takes over, because it is to protect that thing from the trauma, the pain. So this is what the intensity of the soul is.
Thanks for that enlightening one. Uh, Again, I move on to Lord Krishna. I'm too obsessed with that one, ma'am. Lord Krishna says that soul is always born and forever you. Still, you have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. At what age should one work for soul transformation, ma'am? What do you think is the right age?
I love what happened in the ancient times, what happened in the Gurukuls. They started at a very young age. By the time they were young, 11, 12, they were put onto the path of meditation, understanding, teaching them the, depending on what path they were getting onto, they were taught onto what they want to do and how they need to do. So starting young is very important. I I regret that I didn't start it young. Though I do come from a family where prayers and many rituals and everything was part of it, but I was not inclined towards it, because I was that young girl who wanted to defy everything and not believe in it. But universe had its own plans for me. And today when I look at it, I know how important it is for us to have our mind, body, and soul aligned. So that's when you have a soul transformation and you know how it is and how you would experience it. So when I say mind, body, and soul aligned, so if when your mind, body, and soul is aligned, you are in control of what is happening, and you understand when some things are not in your control. So you would be able to deal with it. So something like this, to be resilient, to be able to take decision, to do problem solving, to handle stress, even young children need to know it. I would say as young as possible. Even kindergarten children should have a little knowledge of little meditation in a fun way. You don't have to make them sit like how adults would sit, but just walk in nature, get into understanding how nature comes into being harmony, how to bring about purity into you is very important, because it helps you
One.
become resilient.
Wonderful, ma'am, and soul stirring as well. Let's take a break here. Let's take a
Yes.
break here for a while our viewers get into the soul stirring section, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let's
Sure.
welcome back, ma'am. As you said, and as you made it clear, that humanity is imprisoned by the matrix of material forces, greed, and aggression. How can soul transformation be a part of healing, and how can it help? Again, as I said, these are all many of them you will find overlapping, and you'll find them connected in one way or the other. How can it lead to less stress, especially in case when we are talking in an education summit? How can we lower down the stress and aggression in youngsters?
One of the best things to be doing is to do something they love to do, to reduce the stress. I will come to this, how to help with healing. Today, what I love about education institutes is many have made life skills an important part of their education. Many schools and many institutions. Many schools have also introduced meditation because they realize the importance of meditation. So it is not about meditation and becoming sattvic and a yogic, and I'm not talking about all that. I'm only talking about aligning your mind, body, and soul, have breath work, concentrate, and just anchor your thoughts. You would improve your concentration, You would be able to have a control over your entire thoughts, your emotions, and you would understand the importance of being in the present. Many are not in the present, their mind is wandering. Either they're thinking what to do after something or what they did before something. They're not sitting in the moment. They're not in the moment. They're not in the current moment. So when you meditate, it really helps. Counseling helps. Life skills helps. Of course, acute cases, if a child has gone through a trauma, bullied, if they lack self confidence, if there is something like inferior complex issue, various issues could be there. Then they would need different, like one on one healing sessions and various things to be working on them. Otherwise, generally, what a child needs is a simple thing of meditation and balancing themselves. Unfortunately, in today's time and age, which I have seen, is young teenage children have a lot of inner child work. So it is good to kind of have that done. And there is a taboo. Some people don't like to speak about it. Some people don't want to say that, I go and I get inner child work done. But I have seen a lot of children coming up, children in the age group between 13 to 16, sometimes even 18. They carry a lot of baggage because there could be various reasons. There could be pressure, there could be, like, someone would have said you're not capable, you're a failure, you're so there are a lot of inner child wounding they carry. And if that is not worked on, some of them carry it into adulthood and it comes out in different forms. And worst cases, it becomes into issues which could lead even to like bipolar, to you know uh, those various split personality, to uh, uh, various kind of issues. I mean, I don't want to start tagging and naming things with it, but it happens. So it is important that you start addressing the issue at the root and working on it.
Very
And
enlightening, very enlightening, ma'am. Very enlightening. That is. One more thing here that comes to my mind is in the present times, with the uncertainty and unrest that prevails, ma'am, that has become the order of the day. There's a lot of lack of communication. Lack of communication in all spheres, not only between parents and children, but elsewhere as well. How can healing help there, ma'am?
the one thing is, communication is really important. In fact, I have done my own set of live sessions with my son, who's a teenage son, about the importance of communicating with your parent. The reason I did it is a lot of teenagers do not communicate with their parents, and they are caught in. I have nothing against today's technology. It's a blessing. At the same time, it comes as a curse too. But unfortunately, the younger generation, they're so tender, they're so young. They get lured into things, not realizing what they're doing, and they could get misguided. So it's always good to communicate with your parents, express what's there. You know, I had a case where this young child who was bullied on social media pertaining to certain things, and the child felt so humiliated. And the child went to the mother, and the mother came to me saying, "Can you help?" And I said, "Why can't you complain to the other parents that, all those children are creating this?" So the mother's like, "No, my child is refusing because the child does not want to be shunned, does not want to be bullied by them." Unfortunately, I mean, people misuse it. So those are the times you really need to come to a healer, a counselor, because you need to get out of it. Because everything has to be done to an extent. Anything in excess becomes an addiction, which is absolutely dangerous. As long as it's taken in small doses, it's fine. When you go overdose without, like, you're not stepping out of the room constantly, you're sitting on chatting on social media, and you think that I need to get this many followers, this many likes, this many comments, people are not listening to me, I don't feel loved. That is false creation. What has to happen in reality, in the world around you. So instead of getting caught, it's good to speak to your elders. If you feel parents, you're scared, speak to the teacher, speak to your friends, someone who's sensible, or speak to your elder brother, uncle, aunt, grandparents, and reach out to a counselor. It's very, very important. And reach out to a healer if it becomes an acute case where you really have to remove the trauma or the pain. It would be needed.
That was wonderfully explained, ma'am. We have been joined by a lot many viewers, ma'am. What would be your final message for all of them, ma'am?
Sorry, there was a voice break. Could you repeat it, please?
What would be your message for our viewers, ma'am?
I would say that take time out in a day, even if it is for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, and spend that time for yourself. Those of you who are not inclined to meditation, those of you who are not inclined to be sitting in a place, you don't have to. You could go about your routine, but keep 5 minutes for yourself, and in that 5 minutes, declutter your space. Remove all the unwanted things because we carry so many things in us which is not needed. So, declutter your space and let go of baggage which is not needed. Take time out for your children, take time out for your parents. Because if there's anything that COVID has taught us, is we don't know what is tomorrow. Make the most of it. Spend time. Make it a quality, not quantity. Quantity is today of no value. Quality is needed. And this is how you would also be transforming yourself as a better human being. And and as you travel light, there is a soul transformation happening for you. And that is my message to one and all. And start young.
I'm really indebted to you, ma'am, along with the viewers who have joined us for explaining the metaphysical concept of soul transformation along with its cleansing and healing. And you have touched varied issues like bullying and exam stress and meditation, routine work, decluttering. Almost at every angle, you have touched it. And we are so very indebted to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
and enlightening us. Thanks a ton, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank